Hey guys, welcome back to Bait and Tackle. I'm your host, Joe Frank, and this is going to be part 2 of the collaboration with my man Kris at Swamp Trout. We are going to continue doing these inline spinners. We're going to build them out. We're going to use the wire former today. I have one of those, I think it's Hagen's. Is it Hagen's? Hagen's? I'm not sure. It's a commercial wire bender. It's a really nice one. You have to strap it to your desktop or strap it to your workbench. You'll see it here in a few minutes. But I will show you what I'm going to be doing and what wires we're going to be using. And we're going to be using a lot of different things from Barlow's that I ordered. So hope you guys enjoy this. Get to see some of this build, some of these different products, different parts that you can use on these inline spinners. And let's go ahead and get down to the wire bender and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, now before we start, I wanted to show you what we do here. And I made up just like a mock-up one just so that we could see how we did without putting the treble on first. So the first thing we're gonna do is we make the top loop. And in this case, I am using these wires that already have a bend put in them. So they already have this R-type bend already on them, which is perfect for the wire bender I'm using, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. So these are fantastic. This is the Barlow's part number, 429936, and I bought 100 pack of them. I can't remember how much they were. I'll put all the details in the description. But we're gonna use those wire forms to make this. So the first thing I do is I start out by making the top loop. So we will take that's already made up, we'll make the top loop in the bender, and then we will add our parts, and I'll go through the parts as we build one of these out. And we'll probably do a couple of them on video, and then the rest I'll make off camera. So let's go ahead and make one of these up. And this is like I said, a mock-up that I did. So what I want is I want to bead a clevis with a blade on it, and this happens to be a Willow blade, and for some reason that got smushed all the heck. I'm not sure how. Maybe when I was forming this wire, probably. So all I got to do is actually go in here and spread that clevis back out. See, that clevis got pinched together real tight, so I'll spread that back out, and then this thing will spin a lot freer. But there's our piece of lead. That this is just an unpainted one, and again another bead in between just so everything spins freely. And then I went ahead and put the one on the bottom, which is where the hook's gonna be. So I think what I'm gonna do is put the hook, the treble hook, through this last loop, and I'll show you how to do that. I'm gonna show you how we make these R's, because we're gonna have to make that R on the back side of it. So this is gonna be a little bit of playing around. I'm not a professional with this wire bender, like I said, so let's get you guys into position here, and we're gonna go ahead and do the first move, which is we're going to put the first initial loop in here. So let's go ahead and make up 2 of these. We're gonna do these 2 at a time. So what you do in this wire bender is, it's pretty cool. You put the loop around that post right there. This comes back, your main wire goes out through the center, and then your part of the R goes over to the side. So then that way it lays flat in there, okay? And you'll see a little notch right here, and actually you can see it on this side too, where my fingernail is right there. There's one on each side, so the other wire will go right through there. Then we close this in, which holds the wire in place. Let me see if I can do this with both my hands here. And I actually tightened this up on mine so that it stays a lot. It actually stays and holds everything in place really well. Okay, so now as you can see, the eyelet's there. It's on that post. And what I'm gonna do is with this handle, I'm gonna twist it, and I'm gonna go that direction. So if you're looking at it that way, I guess kind of clockwise. And what we're gonna do is while we turn this, we're gonna maintain pressure going that way to keep that loop nice and tight. So let's go ahead and try this. Let's go ahead and actually, you know what? Before we start, there was one thing I forgot to tell you, was this R is a little bit longer than I like it to be. So we're gonna go ahead and trim a little bit of it off. Probably gonna take about, let's take about 1/4 of an inch off. Okay, so we're gonna make it a little shorter because I don't want too many wraps around that. One is plenty, you know, 1.5, that's plenty wraps around that wire. As far as, you know, a bass hooking up to it and pulling it apart, I don't think it's going to happen. So I need to hold this down. I need to maintain pressure, turn this thing, but also push that way so that I can keep that loop nice and tight. So I'm going to go ahead and start doing it. And when you hear that pop, that means you're done. So pull this out, take this off. And you don't want to do it too hard. If you put too much pressure that way, they get stuck on here once in a while. So I'm going to just use a pair of pliers to get it off. Sometimes that happens when I put too much pressure on there, but look how tight and perfect that circle is. Okay, so that's exactly what we want right there. Now I'm going to go ahead and do this one more time. Actually, I'm going to do it 2 more times because we need to make a bunch up. So I'm going to trim those back. Trim, like I said, 1/4 inch off. And we're going to go ahead and make 2 more. And that way we got 2 to start with. Close this up. And that way I'm not changing the angles on you guys either. Maintain that pressure. Turn it until it pops. Now that one I didn't put as much pressure on, but it came out just as good. And like I said, sometimes these get stuck on that post, but no big deal. You can just pull it right off. Pair of pliers, wiggle it back and forth. It'll come right off of there. I could probably put a little oil on there and it'll slide right off. But again, nice round loop, okay? So let's go ahead and do 1 more. And I've got to make up, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 of these things. So I'm gonna go ahead and do these 3 for now. Okay, they're popped. Good. This one stuck on there just a little bit. Like I said, I probably should put a little grease on here just to get these to come off easier. But there you go. Nice. 1 loop around. Perfect. Tons of strength. This is 0.040 wire diameter. This is pretty stout wire. I could probably knock it down and go to a thinner wire, especially for these smaller ones that I'm making. But in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and make them all the same. So no big deal. So let's bring you back over here to the bench so we can add some parts. Okay, so here's all of our pieces over here that we need to make these. And I'm trying to decide if I want to do the bigger ones first or the smaller ones first. I'll probably start off doing the bigger ones just so you guys can see. Maybe I'll do 1 of each. Then that way we got it on video, doing 1 big one, 1 really, really small one. So we'll do 1 of each. We'll do the smallest and we'll do the biggest. How's that sound? So for the biggest, I went ahead and did just some chrome dots in between the chartreuse and black on this one. You can see that shimmer. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that on there. I don't know if that's going to come off real easy. I don't know. I let it dry for a few days. Should be okay. But if we go by the basis of this right here, we want that willow blade or whatever blade we're going to use to really not go past that circle because it's going to impede on the treble hook, and we really don't want that. So I want the treble hook to be past whatever blade size we're using. Now I have all sorts of different blade sizes here. I think I've got, let's see, these are 1s, 2, 3, and I believe I've even got some 4s somewhere here. Yep, 4s here too. So depending on what we want to use, and like I said, I'll take pictures of this stuff at the end. There'll be some pictures on the end of the video if you want to buy some of these parts from Barlow's. Use my code B8N Tackle, all one word. I'll put it here at the bottom of the video right here, and it won't save you any money, but it helps support me and what I'm doing, trying to show you guys a lot of this stuff. So please go ahead and use that code. So we're going to go ahead and see what size blade. Thinking that 4 might be pretty decent. I guess what we have to do is build one out. Let's build one out. We'll take this wire and let's go ahead and get some beads. Oh, and these are Barlow's too. I got some decent size, some like medium size beads. I can't remember what size they actually are. The part numbers are here. We got different size Clevises to use. We've got 1s, 2s, and I believe we've got even 3s, which I'm sure is what I'm going to be using on this one. Is probably a 3 since it's so big. And then I've also got some smaller, like almost like a Colorado type blade, like a smaller one. So we may do that on one of the little ones. I haven't decided yet. And here's some really big beads. And I'm going to use these on this one right now. So we've got gold as well. We've got gold in medium and large. So I have all sorts of different things you could use here to build spinners, make bait. You could do anything. There's a ton of stuff here to make things. Again, I'll picture all this stuff at the end. Then that way you guys can see what the part numbers are. I'll try to list out below everything that I've got in this video for Barlow's. And you guys can try to make the same thing here. So let's go ahead and get this stuff kind of out of the way so we got a little bit of room to play here. And what I'm going to do, I'm trying to keep everything together, blades, beads, and Clevises kind of thing, okay? So we're going to lay some stuff out on the table here. And like I said, we're going to use these big beads first. This is a 410203. I'm going to go ahead and get out 2 of these. With what I've made before, I'm going to go ahead and just build 2. Okay. And we're going to, while we're doing this, we're actually going to go ahead and build it out too. So I'm going to put this together. We're going to see how good it goes. So slip the bead on. Then we're going to need a big clevis. So we're probably going to use a number 3. Bigger the size, like 3 is the bigger the clevis. So as you continue up, 4 would be bigger, 5 would be bigger, so on and so forth. So if we're using a bigger blade, I definitely want to use a bigger clevis. So this is a size 3. We're going to go ahead and put it through the blade, okay? And the blade is going to lay down, okay, on, so the concave part, the inside part, is going to lay against this guy here. I believe that's how that goes. If I'm not doing it right, please tell me. I would really like to know that I'm not doing it wrong. And then, of course, as I'm building this, got to keep in mind that I'm doing this upside down. So put the clevis on. Okay, so now we got 1 bead. We got the clevis with the blade. And then we have 1 more bead we're going to put on. Okay, so there is 2 beads, clevis and the blade. Again, concave part that way, the bulge out goes that way towards the head. Now we're going to put on our lead weight. Okay, if I can get it in there, might have to go the other way. I'm going to have some trouble with this. I think the hole got stoppered up with something. So let me kind of clean this out. I'll be right back. All right, it took us a little bit of a finagle in there, but I think we got it. So let's go ahead and put this on the body. I just had a little bit of lead stuck in that hole, and that's what happens sometimes. So this may not free spin the way I really want it to, but at least if these beads in the blade do, I'm okay with that. All right, so this is what we got so far. So let's see if that's there, circles there, and the trebles down below it, it's not going to impede at all. So that looks pretty sick. I think I like it. We're going to keep going with that. So now let's bring this back over to the wire bender. Okay, so this is the part that I was talking about. This right here makes that R on the piece of wire. Let me show you that again. What we're trying to accomplish here is to make an R just like this one, okay? Except I want it shorter. So really, we want to make it look like that. And that's kind of the distance we're looking for. So I'm going to use this as kind of a guideline. Okay, I'm just going to leave that right there just so I've got something to look at. And what we want to do here is we want to make that R. Now, I'm going to leave a little bit of room here for this for this to have some room down here at the end of the thing. Now I want a little bit of room, but I don't want a ton of room either. So I thought about moving this up, and I can't remember how I did the last one, but I want to say, because we got to have enough room to fit it into the wire former up top. So let's just go ahead for this case and just go ahead and make it right here. And what it's going to do is it's going to pull that up. So I may have just messed up my paint job just a little bit, and it's going to make that R bend in there. Actually, this is going to be pretty good. I think this is going to be perfect. Let's see if it fits up here in the... Oh yeah, I think it's going to end up being perfect. Okay, so we got the first R bend. We're going to put it back in the opposite way and push it against it. So then that way it gives us that kind of R. See it? Okay. So now we're going to clip off what we have, and we want to make it, like I said, about the same as this other one, right? So we want it about the same size. So I'm going to have to cut off about that much of the actual wire. Okay. Let me just kind of do this while I'm on camera with you, but try to maintain focus here. All right, so we got our R. Perfect. So we did that down here. Like I said, this is the bend that makes the R, and you can buy different size things to swap out to do bigger wire sizes. I can't remember off the top of my head when I bought this what wire sizes this goes to. I know 040 works on this one though, no problems. They also have another piece I'm going to show you right now up here that you can change out as well. Then that way you can do bigger wire on this part too. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and lock you in right here so that we can see me do the wire bending part. Now this is going to be the interesting part, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in there the way I normally do, right? Nice down flush. I'm going to lock this in, but we're missing one thing here before I go any farther. I need to put the treble hook on. Okay, so we're going to take this up, take this out. We're going to put our treble hook through that loop. And you could very easily put an eyelet or a snap ring here if you really wanted to, but it's just going to extend that out longer, and I really don't want to do that. I want to keep that as tight as I can. So now you keep that right there. See that? How that's keeping that on this side? That keeps it on this side. Okay. And let's get this all lined up first, just so that we can, I'm trying to get this so that you guys can see it, but also so I can do what I need to do here as well. So we got that in there. This is pushed down tight. We're ready. This side's good. That side's in there. Our hook is in here stable against this post, and it will move. And now we're going to go ahead and, like I said, we're going to push that direction, and we're going to twist this handle. So let's go ahead and try it. Let's see how we make out. There's that snap. So we should be able to take this off, flip this over, and take it out. And look what we got here, guys. Awesome, awesome, awesome bass-sized inline spinner, or whatever you want to use it for. And I think this came out incredible. Just like that. There you go. So you got a little bit of room for things to move around in. This inside of this, where the lead is, I don't know if the lead's going to actually spin, because it is pretty tight in there with that wire. So we may have to either clean it out a little bit more next time, or maybe I'll throw a little bit of oil down that shank or something just to give it a little bit of, but again, it doesn't really matter if that spins. We're really more concerned about the blade spinning, which in this case, the Clevis is free spinning. It's ready to go. I mean, it's going to flop all over the place, so it's going to be perfect. Okay, so that's one. Now we need to make another one, a smaller size, so you guys can see that one as well. All right, so I got you right here. We got our big one made right here, so that's pretty cool. That came out great. I think I'm going to take a couple of these and send these back to Kris as well, because I want him to play around with some of these too, the bigger ones down to the tiny ones. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to pick out one of these tiny ones. This time we're going to do the pink one, I think, just so we've got a different color to show, pink and brown. Okay, we're going to do that one right there. So again, same wire size. So this is the only thing that's going to be a little bit more complicated, is I'm using a bigger wire, and in reality I should be using something a lot smaller for this one. But because of what we have, this is what I've got. This is what we're going to use, and this is what we're going to work with. I'm going to downsize the beads to the next size down. So these are a 410202. I'm going to get 2 of those out, and then I need to get a different clevis, because this clevis is going to be a lot smaller, and I think what I'm going to use is a size 1 clevis, which I'm pretty sure fits on a 4 gauge or on a 404 wire. Let's find out, because if it doesn't, we're going to be doing a different one. Yes, it does. So I just made sure that the clevis does fit this wire. It is a little tight on it, but it will spin. Yeah, it's good. Okay, so we got a size 1 clevis, which is very, very tiny, super, super tiny. And we are going to use a different size blade on this one. We are going to use, oh man, I'm trying to think of what I want to use here. Probably a 1 maybe? Might even have to break out some 0. I think I've got some size 0 ones somewhere. But I'm just trying to lay this out to see what it would look like size-wise. You're going to have a bead on the top. You're going to have a bead on the bottom. So probably like right around like that. So it would be really close. But even with the circle down here, I think we're good. So either I could use a size 1, or I could go down a little bit and use a size 0, which I'm pretty sure I have somewhere. Yes, I do. I have size 0. So let's see what the sizes are compared for 0 and 1. Okay, so that's how tiny a size 0 is. And actually, I'm trying to think with the wire and everything, if 1 would be better or 0 would be better. 0 would be pretty small. I think we're going to go with a size 1, because I don't want it to be too tiny. So let's get rid of the 0. So we're not going to be using 0s. But size 1 blades are a 403350. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and use what we got here on the table. So I'm going to start going ahead and putting this stuff on the post backwards. So we're going to go ahead and add our first bead. Okay. Then we're going to add our clevis with our blade, just like I showed you on the last one. Make sure that the blade is in the right direction. Okay, I got it on there. Make sure that blade's in the right direction. So when it gets on here, it's going to lay down like that, the concave part in towards the weight. Okay, and then we're going to do our second bead. And then hopefully this body won't be hard to put on. It's so small, probably not going to be too hard to fish the wire through. There it goes, already popped right through. Okay, so you're looking at that right there. Okay, and then we're going to add the hook. So let's just test this just to see how far down the blade goes. So the blade comes down about a little bit past that. So again, we're going to have our circle and then the head of the treble. So I think that's going to look pretty good actually. So if you think about it, it's going to be probably like that. So that blade won't impede with the hook. It'll be perfect. Okay. So again, this is all a bunch of form fitting, making sure everything goes the way you want it to go. That's pretty much what you're looking for. So let's get back over to the wire bender. And again, I put that other one over here just as a reference so that you could see where we got to go. But I'm going to do exactly what I did on the last one. I'm going to start the bend with the lead weight all the way up to the edge of this thing right here. And you just got to be careful because it wants to pull that way and it might try to chip that paint. So we're going to go ahead and leave it right there. And it's going to pull some of that wire, so just pull this back just a little bit so it doesn't scrape up the paint. And then it's going to make our R, okay, just like that. And then we got to flip it over and roll that R back a little bit so we can make that completed R, okay. And then you may want to just do this once or twice just to get it centered like that, right? Just like that. So now we got that. We got this other one here just to show you as a kind of a reference. And And then I'm going to go ahead and chop off that much wire right there. I'm going to cut that right there. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it off. Okay. And now from our reference, let me scoot you back up here. From our reference, it's the same, almost the same R. Okay. So that's what we got so far. So now we're going to bring you up to the bender portion. Always important to keep good camera angles. So now we got this. Again, we have to get our hook. We have to put our hook through that R, and it does fit perfect. And now we're going to put this on here. We're going to get our wires lined up, our hook's right in the right spot, put this down. I think we're ready to go. We got our hook in the way, out of the way there. We're going to go ahead, and like I said, we're going to push that way, but we're also going to turn this and try to keep that circle nice and tight. Sorry about that, guys. My arm was kind of in the way there. It's the only bad thing about this thing. Okay, back it up. Got our hook in there. Oh, we chipped off a little bit of paint on that one on the bottom, but no big deal, no worries. We can push our lead weight back down. And now, here is the tiniest one that we made. And I believe that was a size 12 treble, if I'm not mistaken. The smallest one that was in the package. So, and just to give you a little bit of a size reference between the two that I just made, that's how much of a difference it is. And I believe the bigger hooks were, I can't remember what size the bigger hooks were. Let me see if I can tell here. Size 4s. And Kris sent me some size 2s that were even bigger, but I think that's probably going to end up doing it. So there's your builds of the smallest one, smallest inline spinner, and here's the biggest inline spinner. And I'm going to go ahead and set these aside, and off camera I'm going to make the rest of these, and then I'll probably just wrap this up. We'll look at all the ones I've made, and when we're done with that, I will go through a lot of the parts and pieces that you'll need. And like I said, at the end there'll be pictures of everything, so then that way you'll know what to buy. All right, so we finished, we completed it all. Hope you liked the little montage, a little speed video, speed reel of the putting the rest of those together. I didn't do them all, but I did a majority of them in that little video. So I'm gonna just kind of wrap this thing up here now. So we got the biggest set, which is our size 4 hooks with a lure body of, this is the 3/8 body. We're going to pick this one up. We'll just pick them up one at a time and show you. 3/8 body with a size, I think that's actually a size 3 blade. I had noticed I had some size 3 blades sitting here, so I think that's what that ended up being. One of them has a size 4 blade on it, so that one was a little bit bigger. But we used the 4, we used 1 4, we used a 3, but a different style that I had sitting here from leftover from a long time ago. But this is a size 4 Gamakatsu triple hook, and Kris tied this magnificent tail on it. Beautiful, beautiful. So there's that one. And again, 3/8 ounce body, so it's pretty heavy. Then we're going to move on to the next one, which is, and I put some gold in this one, and I don't remember if this one was in the speed reel or not, but thought that was kind of cool. So I put some gold beads in this one. Since it had gold and it had brown in it, I figured that'd be kind of a cool combo. So the body's got the brown stripes on it, the comb technique, and we got the gold here with the black, and just nice brown material, very natural on that one. But I threw some gold beads in there, give it a little bit of pizzazz. So that is the 1/4 ounce body with a size 3 willow blade. Okay. And then the next one we did was a size 2 willow blade and a smaller body, a 1/8 size body out of the mold right here, 1/8, the middle one, with 2 of the balls there, and the little beads, those are different sizes. There's a 202 and a 203. The 202 is this, actually the 203 I think is this one maybe. And then I think the next one we started going down smaller. But regardless, you can just size them up the way you want to size them, you know. I mean, it's kind of a pretty cool little thing. You can kind of put them together the way you want. So that one's pretty neat. And then we just keep moving down the ladder. Oh, and by the way, that one, the last one, the brown one and gold, had a size 6 hook. So it's size 4, 6. Then I think we go to 8, I believe. Yeah, 8s, 10s, and 12s. So we just move right down the ladder in hook sizes. And I believe most of those were Gamakatsu. There may have been a couple that were some different style, and I can't remember what. Maybe like some mustads or something like that. I can't remember hook styles wise. So then the next one we went down, I just did that one, it was 1/8. This one, another gold one and brown, I did the same thing there. Instead of the next size down in the willow blade though, I did the 310, which is the little, almost like a little Colorado type blade or teardrop. I don't know what you want to call that. I don't think it's a Colorado, but the same thing, brown body, gold beads, give it a little pizzazz. Really, really nice. I think that'll be really cool for trout or even some small stuff in the creek or the river. And then the last one, at least last but not least, we have the tiniest one there. Oh, and that last one was a 1/16 body size, by the way, out of the mold. This one is a 1/32 size. So this is the smallest of the bunch right here in my hand. And he's pretty tiny. That could go for trout, panfish, whatever I decide to do with it. But that's got a size 1 willow blade on it. Got the silver beads there, and then that little body. So, and that all just fits in there pretty perfect. There's a tiny bit of room in the head there. That's about it. So came out really good. I'm very impressed. I like the lure body mold, came out awesome. I think those really are awesome bodies for these type inline spinners. I'll probably be doing more of that in the future. I've also thought about doing some other stuff too, maybe some walleye rigs with some things, because I know that I can do some bottom bouncers probably with these as well, just locking this into one end of a big wire. So I might be doing that at some point here. So I think that's going to wrap it up for the episode today, guys. I really appreciate you guys watching and sticking around for part 2. But I think we did a pretty good job. And I'm actually thinking about making a few more of these in the future. Maybe doing some different designs on the bodies as well. So I think I got some other cool ideas that we could try. But so far so good. Again, big thing. All these parts and stuff like that, even the mold, you can get all this stuff from Barlow's. I will list all of this down below. I know we concentrated on the mold in the last video, but I'm going to put everything in the bottom of this video in the description. So if you need anything or want anything, head over to Barlow's, put in my code B8N tackle. I'll post it again at the bottom of the video here, and that'll help support the channel. Helps me keep you guys informed on what new products there are, what cool things come out, and keeping you guys in the new and anything. And I know these aren't really new. I think this mold's been out for a while, but I've always wanted to do it, and I just finally, I don't want to say I had the time, but I wanted to do it, and Kris sent me the feather trebles and everything like that, and I just figured, you know, now's the time to do it. Let's just do this. Well, that concludes part 2 of inline spinners with Swamp Trout Baits. Awesome video. I thought that was a lot of fun making those. I think it was definitely worth it splitting it up into 2 parts just to make it a little bit easier to follow. Again, I'm going to list everything in the description, so go check that out. Go over to Barlow's, put in my code, get some stuff. Check these things out, man. I mean, this is a lot of fun. The commercial wire bender is pretty expensive. I think they have it at Barlow's. I will double check, and if it is, I will put it in the description below. You don't have to get something this crazy. There are other wire benders out there that work just as good, and I've seen some YouTube videos. Go search for it on YouTube. There are some other ones that are a lot cheaper than having to pay this much money for one of these. I think it was a couple $100. So thank you guys again so much for watching, and as always, remember to keep on baiting.